Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Tank B Choppin', and I'm back with another haircut tutorial. Alright guys, so what we're gonna be doing on this cut is we're gonna be taking about ½ an inch off the top, with some shears. We're gonna add some texture. He's going for that messy look on top. We're doing a number 1 on the sides and then a taper fade on the bottom. I think that's gonna help bring this cut, all the way together and just let it flow nice. Alright, so as y'all can see, I just saturated, my client's hair. It's fully saturated. I'm gonna go ahead and start off in the middle of my client's head towards the crown area, and I'm gonna be working my way forward with that guideline, and I am gonna be taking off about ½ an inch. And remember guys, every section that I pull up, I'm using that previous guideline, and I'm using that as a traveling guideline coming forward. That way I make sure all that is the same length, and then I'm using them guidelines in the middle, although I'm coming the opposite direction, to make sure that all that is the same length. And once again, I hope y'all understand what I was saying there. I know it's always been hard for me to explain that, but y'all can actually see what's going on here, so I hope my explanation does this, I hope it goes good with the visual, that way y'all can actually see what I'm talking about. So I'm just gonna be knocking all this down, all on top. We're going over, we started off in the middle, then we worked our way over to the left, and now we're gonna be working our way over on the right side. And we're just doing the same thing, we're just making sure all that is nice and even. And then the closer we get to the ridge area, so basically right here I'm at the ridge area, and what I'm doing here is I am going slightly shorter. That way it's easier for me to fade into when I use my clippers and my guards. Alright, so now what I'm doing is I'm actually using my texturizing shears. These aren't my regular shears, I'm just adding some texture. These shears basically do the same thing as point cutting, so that's what I'm doing here, just so I can give in some texture on top, so when he does have that messy look, it just has some nice texture to it. Alright, so now that the top is completely done, I'm going in with my 1A guard, or my 1A blade on my Andis Supras. I just decided to pull them out on this cut, sometimes I use them because it's quicker for me or it's easier for me, and I just decided to use them on this cut, and I think it works really well. I use them on his head all the time. I really like the length that the 1A leaves on his hair. That's the reason why I use them. So what I'm doing is I'm going over the sides with that 1A, and I'm coming up, basically kind of like a mid fade, and I'm coming up, setting in my guideline, and then I'm gonna have to take that guideline out. We're gonna do some, some fade work, and then we're actually gonna taper them up also. Alright, so now that that is done, I'm not 100% sure if this is my 5/8 or my 3 3/4, but nonetheless, if you don't have, if you don't have detachable blades this big, that's perfectly fine. Even if you don't have detachables at all, you can use a number 1 on the side, and then you can use either a number 4 or a number 3.5. Your 3 guard open right here to debulk the sides, and that's basically what this is doing for me. I believe this is a 3 3/4. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm really thinking that's what that is. And like I said, guys, my 3 3/4 is basically like me using my number 4 guard. So we are going to be doing some down fading technique. So if that was the 3 3/4, this is my 3.5. And I'm coming up right below what I did with that 3 3/4. And I am using a flick out motion, and as you can see, I'm floating that clipper up in a way, that way I don't leave a guideline. And now here is my number 2 blade. And I'm doing the same exact thing, coming right below where I went with that 3.5. And like I said, guys, if you don't have these blades and you don't have detachable blades, that's perfectly fine. You don't even need to use them. You could just use your regular guards, and I did do that on the opposite side. So on the opposite side of the haircut, y'all can actually see, how I did that with guards instead of with blades. But anyway, now I'm going in with my 1.5 guard, or my 1.5 blade. And this, for the most part, is gonna bring this whole side together. Obviously, I'm still gonna do some small detail work just to make it all come together. But basically, these are my initial steps, and in theory, it should be faded out completely. So I believe this is my number 3.5 or my 2 blade. I'm not 100% sure, but it doesn't really matter because you can use any guard that you feel is necessary to get rid of dark areas and dark spots. So you just start off with a bigger guard or blade and then just work your way down. And that's basically what I'm doing here. I started off with a bigger blade and I just wanted to touch up some spots because there were some dark areas, there were some discrepancies that I needed to take care of. So that's basically what I did here.
Damn it, Tito.
And then what I'm doing now is I'm actually using my number 4 guard on my my wall seniors with the Andes Master blade. And the only reason why I switched it up is I just felt that it was easier for me to use these the guards instead of the detachable blades. Not saying the blades did a bad job, but I just, you know, I'm just a little more comfortable with the guards, so I just switched to the guards. But as y'all perfectly saw there, it was already looking good. If I would have detailed it some more, it would have came together nice, but I just decided to use these guards instead. And all I did was start off with the 4 and then work my way down guard by guard. Alright, so now that that is done, I'm actually going in with my trimmers and I'm setting in a bald guideline for the taper. And we're not going to give him, you know, a too high taper. We're just going to clean it up. So we're doing basically like a low/mid taper. I am lining him up in the back now just because I already have the trimmers in my hand, and it's going to make this process a little quicker for me. Alright, so now I'm going in with my Uno shaver and I'm just taking all that down the skin. And now I'm going in with my wall seniors with the lever all the way open. And I'm coming up about 3/4 of an inch or so, and I am using a slight flick out motion, and then I'm fading down, meaning I started with my blade all the way open and then I closed my lever. You know, first I closed it halfway, came halfway into the section, and then I closed it a little bit more and I started attacking that bottom line, and then I closed it all the way and really attacked that bottom line. And for the most part, just doing that brought this taper together on this side. And sometimes some sides are gonna fade in easier than opposites than others because this side actually blended in quicker than the other side blended in. And y'all see it right now. Alright, but as y'all can see, all I'm doing now is I'm going over everything with my trimmers. You know, I was doing some small detail work, and now I'm just lining up his C-cup and his vertical bar on this side of the cut. And now that that is done, I'm gonna go back in and detail anything that I see needs to be touched up. So I'm starting off with the fade area, and I am using, I believe this is my number 4, I really couldn't see. But for the most part, like I said guys, I start off with one of my larger guards and I just switch guards as needed and adjust my lever as needed to take away dark areas. So yeah, that was my number 4, that was my number 3 guard, and for the most part I felt like that looked pretty good, so I decided to move on to the opposite side. So on this side, I'm gonna use nothing but these guards. I didn't use my blades on this side, and I started off with my 4 guard. I debulked up, you know, right into about that parietal ridge area, and now I'm doing the same thing with that number 3 guard. I started off with my lever open, and then I closed my lever coming right below what I did previously. And then once this is done, I'm gonna move down to my number 2 guard. So basically, like I said guys, I'm just doing some down fading, and you don't have to fade down. You can do these steps, you know, the opposite way, fading up. But just for me, fading down, I feel it just works a little bit better for me in certain situations, and that's what I decided to do here. So this is my number 2 guard. I started off with my lever open and now it's closed, attacking that bottom line. And as you can see, that line is almost completely out, but it's not 100% out. So I'm going in with my number 1 guard, lever open. I'm attacking that line, and then I'm gonna just adjust my lever as needed to get, you know, to get that line completely away, or to erase that line completely. And now I'm just going back up with my number 3 guard, cleaning up the top of the ridge area. And now that that is done, I'm lining him up behind the ear, you know, setting in that line in, just because I'm already going to use the trimmer, so I have him in my hand, so I decided to line him up. And like I said before guys, you don't have to do this step now, you can do it at the end of the cut, but I just like to do it when I have the trimmers in my hand because it makes everything easier for me. Alright, so now that we got the guideline in there for the taper, I'm balding it out with my Uno shaver, and now I'm going in with my wall seniors, lever open, using a slight flick out motion, and then I'm closing my lever halfway, coming halfway into that section, and then closing it all the way and attacking that bottom line. And then as you can see, I'm just doing some small lever play, basically trying to bring it together. And for some reason, this side didn't blend in easier, so now I'm going in with my 0 guard. Started off with my lever open, the same thing guys. I started off lever open, and then I started to adjust my lever closed the closer I got to the bottom of that previous guideline. And since that still didn't bring it together, I went back with my clipper open, no guard, and then with my 1 open, and then I just adjusted that lever as needed. And after all that, as y'all can see, I'm still doing some detail work just because I just felt that this side didn't want to come together as easy as the other side did. So I had to do a little more detail work, but it happens like that sometimes, guys. Not both sides of the head is gonna fade in the same exact way. Sometimes you gotta do more, sometimes you gotta do less, and that's just something you have to understand and know what needs to be done to make both sides look even. Alright guys, so now we're moving on to the back, and I'm just doing the same thing that I did on the right side. You know, I'm doing some down fading technique. I'm gonna get that line out, and then I'm gonna go ahead and line him up on the back, or not line him up, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and taper him up in the back, and then we're gonna put that razor to him, and that's basically it, guys. So I mean, obviously y'all gonna see it, but y'all make sure to smash that like button, man. Your boy's been grinding. I'm over here putting in work. I really hope y'all appreciating your boy, and I hope y'all appreciating all this content, because I really enjoy putting it out, guys. I love when I'm recording videos. You know, maybe editing, you know, when I have to edit them, I'm not a big fan of editing because it takes me a while, but I really like doing my voiceover, and I really like releasing these videos, you know, to all my subscribers and my followers, because I feel y'all can learn something from all these videos, whether you know how to cut hair or not. Like, I'm always watching tutorials myself, so whether you know how to cut hair or not, I just feel you can always learn something. You know, I may do something slightly different than you do it, and it might be easier for you. So that's the main reason why I do these videos, guys. So like I said, I really hope y'all appreciate it, and like I said, just smash that like button, share this with your friends, drop a comment down below, let me know what you think about my style of cutting. Let me know if you have a suggestion for a type of haircut, if you want me to use a certain clipper. I try to use all my clippers, guys. I try to have different tutorials out with different clippers, and I hope that y'all really find this this content useful. But anyway, guys, you can see I just finished that side of the head, and now I went back to the first side that I started doing, and I'm just doing some detail work. This is my number 1 guard, and then I'm cleaning everything up with my number 2. Now I'm back with my number 1, cleaning everything up. And like I said, that was just some detail work to make this blend come all the way together. And now, as y'all can see, I'm putting that razor, putting in finishing touches. We didn't do no enhancements. We just adding this razor to really make these lines pop. Alright, so now that the razor work is done, I'm putting some product in his hair. This is just some pomade that I had on my station, nothing special. And you know, we just putting it in his hair. You know, we're gonna work it in there, and then we're just gonna give him that messy look. And cause since that's basically what he wanted, you know what I'm saying, you know, when we add that texture in there, we put this pomade in here, give him that messy look. It really makes the haircut, like I said, I really just think it makes it pop. Like, I don't know, like, y'all gonna see it at the end. I think it's a good cut. Y'all gonna have to let me know what y'all think about it. Alright guys, so this is the finished product. It's a nice clean haircut, you know, nothing too drastic, nothing too extreme. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this cut in the comments, guys. If y'all like this haircut, please make sure to smash that like button. Also, if you're new to my channel, make sure and subscribe one time for your boy. And other than that, YouTube, that's basically it. I appreciate y'all. Until next time, let's go.